research paid for by the taxpayer, the benefits of which should be available to every person in America. Our idea is predicated on the idea that the most privileged person in America has better health care if everyone in America has health care. It's a healthy America. And there's more. In a letter to President Obama, Senator Ted Kennedy wrote about the need for health care reform. He said, "What we face is above all a moral issue. At stake are not just the principles, the details of the policy, but the fundamental principles of social justice and the character of our country." With Senator Kennedy as our inspiration, with the leadership of President Barack Obama, and with your help, we will pass health insurance reform this year. While the forces against us spread misrepresentations, here's what I want you to remember about health insurance reform. The bill is about jobs, creating 4 million good-paying jobs in the life of the bill. This bill is about innovation. It's about using the health IT, et cetera, and the biomedical research. It's about innovation on how we deliver health care to everyone in America, and to everyone to have personalized, customized care, so getting the right care. This is very important, and it's about the future. This bill is about prevention and wellness. It's about diet, not diabetes. It's about how we can make America healthier, not just about health care, but a healthier America. And this bill is about fairness, that fire that burns within us. In the spirit of fairness, under the legislation, you will not be denied coverage because of pre-existing conditions. And by the way, to the women, being a woman is practically a pre-existing condition in most insurance companies. And also in the legislation, domestic violence is not considered a pre-existing condition. You will not lose coverage because you become sick. Imagine you bought your insurance, you pay your premiums, you get sick, they cancel your policy. That's not insurance. That's not insurance. It may be the version that the insurance companies accept, but it's not what we accept for the American people. You no longer will have to keep families in America, most of them who are declaring bankruptcy, do so because of medical bills. A diagnosis of an illness should not be a reason to declare bankruptcy in our country. And we will not allow insurance companies to come between you and your doctor. It is time for us to end the unfair advantage that insurance companies have over American families. And that is why next week the House will act to repeal the special antitrust exemptions for health insurance companies. From Virginia, Tom Piriello is taking the lead on that, our freshman member. Our freshmen are leading the way. The bill will increase competition, increase consumer choice, and lower cost for the American people. Must be done, long overdue. As President Obama said during his State of the Union address, don't walk away from reform. Not now, not when we are so close. Let me just tell you this. On the campaign trail, and when I go out there just on official visits and the rest across the country, I have seen grown men cry about this health care issue. People who are on the verge of bankruptcy because of medical bills, who have a sick spouse, who don't want to tell their children they can no longer afford to buy prescription drugs or the care that their mother or their spouse may need. They don't want to declare bankruptcy. They may have to lose their homes. They're desperate. The problem will not go away. We must pass this reform. The status quo is totally unsustainable. It's unsustainable for individuals, for those people who worked their whole lives, played by the rules, done everything right, and come before me in tears saying, I can't make it. My health care bills are taking our family down. I'm embarrassed to tell our children. They have their own economic challenges. I can't call upon them for help. Imagine that this is happening in the greatest country in the world because we don't have health care as a right, not a privilege, but we will before too long. Standing together and working together, we will pass health care reform for the American people. I'll say it again. But recognize your role in this. We can do all the inside maneuvering and legislating and the rest, but without the outside mobilization, without your participation, nothing really great or good can happen. So I thank you in advance. I thank you for what you have done and in advance for what you will do. We talked earlier about the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Anybody who wants to see the difference between Democrats and Republicans need only look at their budgets. President Obama, this week that you're here, sent his budget to the Congress. President Obama's budget is a true statement of our national values. What we believe in is how we allocate our resources. Barbara knows that, and Debbie on the Appropriations Committee, both of them leaders there. And Mike Honda as well. I was an appropriator too. We all understand that, huh? This budget provides a new foundation, once again, a new foundation for economic growth. Creates jobs, strengthens the middle class, preserves Social Security and Medicare, and it does it in a fiscally sound way to reduce the deficit. By contrast, the Republican budget provides tax breaks for the wealthy, ends Medicare as we know it, and privatizes Social Security. Here they go again, rehashing the same failed Bush policies. So I want you to take that home. The Republican budget that they presented to the House earlier this week privatizes Social Security, turns Medicare into a voucher program, ends it as we know it today. It's important that the word get out, and we need you to spread the word. Imagine what would have happened if we had put America's retirement security when they wanted to privatize Social Security the last time, at the risk of the recklessness of Wall Street. Because of you, and I thank you for helping in the effort to save Social Security in 2006. Not only saved Social Security, it elected a Democratic majority to the Congress of the United States. Urged on by President Truman in his definition, very succinctly presented, strongly led by President Obama. And aren't we proud of our great President of the United States? And then just hearkening back to the President who brought us Social Security, President Franklin Roosevelt. For some of the new, some of you may have heard a speech by Franklin Roosevelt. Most of us have read about it. Most of us have read about it in the history books. I happen to have been born in his administration. But let me just say this. There are many things. This is who we are. This great patrician president identified with the aspirations of America's people. He knew that they needed jobs, that they needed a safety net. So one of my favorite stories that some of you have heard me tell before is that when important to knowing who we are as Democrats. When President Roosevelt died in Georgia, he was taken by train to Washington, D.C., to Lyon State at the White House, and then on to Hyde Park to be buried. And along the way, hundreds of thousands of people lined the tracks. They were in their Oshkoshes, and there were farmers and Black Americans, whatever the name was in those days, large numbers of African Americans, poor people, middle-class people, everyone. They lined